Hi, I'm Jami Petersen. Organization is a great skill to have, but it's even easier when you actually enjoy it. And who wouldn't enjoy using this spectacular organizer to clean up? I'm hoping that it's going to inspire someone special to get with the program. Our executive producer on the show, Cheryl, is a very busy woman, so it's understandable that things get a little chaotic once in a while. But I have to laugh because I hear her ask at least 10 times a day, "Has anyone seen my notebook?" Or, "I just had a pen, where did I put it?" So I thought it would be a great idea to make her a little gift to show my appreciation and to help make her life a little bit easier. I'm starting with the Gabriel desk organizer from Bare Elements, and it is crying out for some color. So I took it outside and gave it a nice coat of black spray paint. That's all I did. I'll also be using the Narratives line of antique cream papers. These are wonderful die-cut papers, the latest, greatest thing, and they have a great range of really ornate designs to simple, clean looks, and I'm going to use them for a lot of things. All I need to do is measure the surfaces that I want to cover. Once I have those measurements, I'll subtract 1/8 of an inch to give myself a nice black border around the edges. And don't worry about any of this, all those measurements are in the design guide and you can download them later. So when I'm finished, I have a lovely piece that looks like this. Let's talk about this for a second. One tip that I want to show you is when you're adhering your paper, we'll need a line at the top and the bottom, and those just stick right into the sides there. And for these gaps where your fingers don't fit, just use a bone folder to make sure that that gets stuck to the surface and everything is nice and lined up. Let's take a quick little tour. You remember our die-cut papers that make a lovely edge for your eyes to follow, and we have some scraps over here, and I finished it off with some self-adhesive lace paper. One note here, in these pockets, you just slip down a photo or a piece of paper. You could use a photo, but I have other plans for this. It's really looking great, but I think that it needs a little bit of color. So I have a cool technique that I want to show you next. I love working with Transparencies, and they have a great coordinating line of Narratives Transparencies with these wonderful flourishes and designs that are going to go perfectly with our organizer. But you're probably saying to yourself, "Jami, I thought we were going to do some color." Well, we are, and we're going to use some alcohol inks. The first thing I need to do is protect my surface with a non-stick sheet. This is also known as freezer paper, which you can get at your local grocery store. I'll bring back in my transparency. And I also have another grocery store find straight out of the snack aisle. It's our handy dandy chip clip. I'm also using a piece of felt. I simply fold it twice and clip it into my chip clip. Now I'll bring in my alcohol inks. One color goes on like so on one side, and I'll use a coordinating color for the other side. All I'm doing is dabbing around on my transparency. So after you've applied your second color, another thing you can do is take rubbing alcohol in a spritzer bottle and move that color around. The alcohol evaporates and you're left with simply color, and you just dab until you have a look that you like. Now I've finished a couple of pieces in advance. Check these out. Look at the texture and the wonderful color in these. These are two different transparencies. I'll be using elements of both. In particular, this frame that's gorgeous. You can cut out any of these ribbons. I'm going to be punching out, though, just a plain part with my craft punch over here. So I've just punched my square, and I have these wonderful stickers, again from the Narrative lines. I really like these because they're all different, and I'm going to use Cheryl's initials to personalize her desk organizer. So I have my square, and I've pre-mounted some of the other letters. You remember our frame from earlier. All I need is some mounting tape. It just goes on like this in the middle, and our sticker pops right on the top of that. And then those are going to get mounted on the front of Cheryl's project for some color and personalization. My gift is coming together really nicely, but I need some more. She needs a place to put her paper clips, rubber bands, things like that. So I also found at my grocery store these kitchen matches. You probably have some of these laying around, and maybe you never thought to use them as a set of drawers. First, we need to take some acrylic paint, and I'm just gonna do the inside of my drawer. Make sure you do your outside corners as well. You'll also need to do the inside of your matchbox. So let that dry, and the next step is to add some pretty paper to it. I'm just using a scrap, and I'll need my adhesive. I just run it along each side of my scrap paper. And you can see that I've pre-folded this to make things a little bit easier. I only need to cover about half of one side and the full side and full top of my top box. This is going to be on the top, so of course I want to cover all the surfaces that might be sticking out. This other side will be butted up against the desk organizer and no one will ever see it. I have 3 boxes total. These two only need one side covered, and this sits on top like so and gets adhered this way. Now, those are ready. We need to work on our drawers. I've painted this one and let it dry. I want to add a nice ribbon in the front so that Cheryl has an easier time accessing what's in her drawers. I will accomplish this by using a template that I've pre-measured. I use a template because I want all the drawers to be consistent. I'll take my pen and draw in where I need my holes and my lines. Okay, so once that's in place, I'll use my 1/16 inch punch. I'll make a hole where I have my guides drawn. And again, a second hole on the other side. Now, using a sharp craft knife, you'll slit in between your holes. Now, the reason I punch the holes is so that I have a nice clean edge and the cardboard isn't jagged. Once your slit is all the way through, grab a couple inches of coordinating ribbon and poke it through. It sometimes helps to have a fine tip scissors or some other sharp object to help you guide the ribbon through. Once you can grab both ends, do so and give yourself a nice pull, and then that will get adhered to the top and bottom of the box. I've also made from a scrap a nice little cover to finish that raw edge. Those go into my boxes that I've already made and will hold paper clips, rubber bands, everything that Cheryl needs. Well, except for pens. I told you she's always looking for pens. So let's make something that can hold those writing instruments. You may recognize this. Hopefully you recognize this. It's just a leftover toilet paper roll, and you probably have access to several of these. So I've painted the inside and the outer edge, and using scraps from my narrative antique paper, I just cover that roll. And I'll also trace around the bottom on another piece of scrap paper so that we have a completed one like so. These will then be adhered to the opposite side of the desk organizer to hold those pens, pencils, whatever Cheryl needs. The last step is the notebook. I told you, she's always losing her notebook, so we have to make her several of them so she'll have plenty to work with. So I found these regular old notebooks, again, at my grocery store. So we have to make them coordinate, of course, with our wonderful paper and our stickers, again, from that narratives pack. You remember our Transparencies that we colored with alcohol inks. I've used a different style of punch and one of those fabulous elements that's going to match perfectly. I'll cut that off and adhere it over there. And when we're finished, we have a wonderful journal that looks like this. Now, let me show you what else we've done here on our final project. This will sit in the back like so. So here are our matchbox drawer pulls. I've added some epoxy stickers to the corner just to cover up those small little holes and make it look more finished. Cheryl's initials are on the front. This is what it looks like mounted. I've also used some pencils in the coordinating paper. Just cover them with adhesive and paper. It's so easy. Next we have mini journals for small notes and lists, a coordinating door hanger for her office, and a thank you card to tell her how special that she is. So now we have the perfect gift for any unorganized executive. I hope you enjoy making this for your own. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.
For step-by-step instructions on how to create this week's project, download the design guide featuring special make-it-your-own bonus tips.